Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Overwatch video. Today we're going to be talking about where the meta is, where it's headed, and what might be changing around very shortly. Obviously, it sounds like we're going to have a new character announced within the week, and there's been, a lot of anticipation about Overwatch League Stage 2 and what they're going to do with the Mercy meta gone. And we have these Sombra PTR changes, and there's going to be some Hanzo PTR changes probably, a month or so from now. That's probably a little far off. And, we're going to be getting some Torb and Symmetra changes eventually. But I think we can, really push that one to the side for now, as far as those builders go. But it was definitely a big question about, we knew that Mercy was going to get nerfed. So where was the meta going to head? Where was it going? And there was a lot of people that thought initially it's going to be a tank meta, with Moira at the forefront. Her ability to do burst healing is just, crazy. We saw that, a little bit in certain circumstances, like on Horizon Point 1, where teams can run quad tank with Moira and Lucio and just speed their way through, heal their way through to the point, get coalescence, and just able to tank all the things and go all the way through the competition. And, that might find still some play, but we're definitely going to see a lot more triple tank than quad tank. I don't think we're going to be able to see much quad tank at all, even in Overwatch League, outside of, maybe one or two points. And there's the question about, Ana, is she going to be coming back into the meta? And, with tanks coming back, you'd have to think that, Ana's coming back, right? Well, no, because Moira fills that role much better than Ana ever could when it comes to burst healing and healing multiple targets, because of the way that her heal beam works. It goes, it has a cone and it goes through people, and, it's supposed to not go through barriers, but it does right now. So that it sounds like that's going to be patched because that was unintended. But her ability to burst heal with her orb, as well as just her primary healing ability, completely outweighs anything that Ana could have done, even with her Bionade. But we are seeing a lot more Ana, just because A, less people are playing Mercy because she's not an absolute must pick or you're going to lose anymore. But also because she can play counter to the Moira quad or triple tank playstyle because of her nade's ability to anti-heal, to deny that healing factor. So I think we're going to see a little bit more Ana as well, especially to counteract the triple tank. I don't know if you want to call it the triple tank meta or a tank meta. I don't think any of us really know where we are yet. There's also the question of Sombra. Obviously, she has a lot of PTR changes coming through. That's going to make her insanely strong. And I think we might be on the verge of a Sombra meta. That is definitely within the realm of possibility, just because she's going to be able to hack all those tanks. Hack a Reinhardt, he doesn't have a shield, he's useless. Hack a Roadhog, he can't take a breather, you can just focus him down. The tanks are going to have a rough time with Sombra's ability to hack a lot faster. Tracers aren't going to be able to blink away because they're just going to be instantly hacked. Genjis won't be able to reflect or dash away. And I think that a lot of people underestimated Junkrat's role that he's going to continue to play. A lot of people thought with the Junkrat nerf, no more Junkrat, right? Well, I mean, I think myself and a lot of people said, no, Junkrat's not going anywhere. And we've seen the first week of Stage 2, no, Junkrat isn't going anywhere. Junkrat is still going to be played, maybe not as much. You probably can't just plug and play him in any situation anymore, in matchmaking and kind of get away with it. But he's definitely just as useful as before, even though his mines aren't going to do as much consistent damage. And he's also very good against the triple tank setup, because of he's just going to be able to charge his ult in like 8 seconds. So we've seen that whenever teams in OWL would run quad tank on Horizon Point 1, we could see a Junkrat get an ult instantly before anybody had ever died, before any action had happened, before anyone even gotten on the point. Already have a Riptire, and Riptire is incredibly strong. Maybe the timer is a bit too long. They buffed so many things about Riptire. I think that, you know, might want to reel it back just a little bit, especially since it's one of the fastest charging ults in the game. It doesn't need to have the timer as long as it has anymore, because it's just so quiet now. Oh, people just running it into walls and being able to stall it out. It'd be nice if, you know, if that wasn't such a consistent thing anymore. Tires, man, they take out tanks and they take out, you know, Valkyrie Mercies. It's just so strong. It's so difficult to counteract against the Tire nowadays. You know, it's not completely indestructible. A Widow can one-shot it. A Reinhardt can one-shot Fire Strike it. You could maybe focus it down. People are saying that, you know, maybe Soldier Sights should be able to lock onto it, and, you know, or High Noon should be able to lock onto it. I think you can definitely argue for that. But I think the timer is the main thing about the Tire that's a little bit too strong even right now, because it can climb up walls. It's pretty fast. People can make it quite silent, and you know, just the ability to stall it out for so long, make it so quiet, and have it still active might be just a little bit too much, just because of how strong it is and how often you can get it. And I do apologize for my Junkrat play. I honestly have not touched Junkrat in 3 seasons. Just, you know, I don't get to play DPS, and you know, when I do, it's so quite often it's not the right time for a Junkrat. But in this instance, Junkrat has always been great at defending in King's Row, especially on point 1 by just conquering the hotel. And unfortunately, that McCree had the flank with the High Noon. But so Junkrat is going to be an answer to, you know, a lot of tanks. Ana is going to be an answer to a lot of tanks. Sombra is going to be an answer to a lot of tanks. So I don't think we're going to be in so much of a tank meta. I think it's going to be a lot more fluid, a lot more matchup and map based, which I think a lot of people have kind of wanted, to where, you know, not 1 or 2 playstyles work in every instance, where it's just more map dependent. It's more character dependent, more synergy dependent. You know, it depends on what your teammates are running, should constitute what you may or may not want to run in that instance, especially when it comes to synergizing your tanks and having your healers kind of fill in the gaps for each other. You know, Zenyatta doesn't have a great ability to peel for himself, so put a Lucio on it. Or, you know, Ana isn't going to be able to get into the fray as much, so you get a Moira in there who can fade in and out and toss her orbs. I think there's a lot, and, you know, Mercy always is going to have her place as well. So I think there's just going to be an ever-rotating door of supports that's going to be within this meta. If you have a Pharah, you know, grab a Mercy. If you're running triple tank, get yourself a Moira. If you are playing control, you're probably going to want a Lucio. If you're, you know, doing a payload, grab a Zen, maybe an Ana, if it's, you know, a hybrid map on point 1. And then maybe switch that over to a Mercy or a Lucio, you know, once it gets to Streets phase. So I think all the supports are in a very good place right now. Obviously, Moira is very strong. It is a shame that so many people play Moira as a DPS when she can just do so much healing. And you see a lot of people complain when their Moiras, oh, why do I have gold kills, blah, blah, blah. If you have gold kills, you're probably not healing too much. Moira has the ability to just touch a lot of characters and win almost every duel in the game. So she is going to be getting more kills than your Anas and your Lucios and even your Zens in on a more consistent basis in most cases. But that's not where Moira is best utilized. That's not where she should be used. So people playing her that way are not going to be benefiting from what her entire kit can give you. And, you know, there are some instances where I have a Moira on my team and I'm a Lucio, and we get gold and silver elims between us, but we're still doing our healing because it's matchmaking and some crazy stuff can happen. You can get away with a lot more, and people are still going to solo main Hanzo and Symmetra and Torbjorn, and things can be crazy. But when it comes to DPSs, I think we're going to still see more of the same. I think Tracer's going to have a little bit harder for time with more Lucios and more Sombras out there. Obviously, if more tanks are a thing, then that hurts Genji a ton. In the triple tank meta, we didn't see hardly any Genji just because he can't really do the damage to combat those tanks. You would much rather have a Junkrat or even a Soldier. And I think we're seeing a lot more Soldier. And Stage 2, obviously, I think a lot of the maps benefit a lot more from Soldier. But I think the meta has just kind of shifted into a place where Soldier can just feel more safe. So I think Soldier's in a really good spot right now. And, you know, if you can put a Nano on a Visor, ain't much more deadly you can get than that. Especially with the bigger open maps. Just establishing high ground with Soldier is more beneficial now than I think ever before. When it comes to the tanks, hopefully the next hero is a tank, because I really do think we need a tank right now. But with the Mercy meta gone, and with more tanks being a thing, obviously Reinhardt benefits from that a little bit. This is still Death Ball isn't going to be helping as much. We're still going to see some Reinhardts on Lijiang Control Center, and we're going to see him in triple and quad tanks lineups. But overall, Reinhardt not super duper as applicable as many of the other tanks, but definitely helped more so in this meta than before in the Mercy one. We're starting to see the same amount of Zarya play, I would say. Once again on Control Center at Lijiang Tower, and in some of the triple tank lineups as well, especially if you need a little bit more ability, and Winston isn't the best when it comes to triple and quad tank setups. That's when you see triple tank or quad tank, it's Reinhardt, it's Roadhog, and Zarya and or D.Va, and then your healers would be Moira and Lucio to boost and heal a lot of people all at one time. So I think we're gonna see Sombra shift into a very prominent spot. Obviously, Moira might be the most prominent healer in matchmaking, not so much in Owl. I think we're going to see a little bit more Lucio play than Moira, but obviously we're going to see some Zen and Ana and Mercy as well. So I think we're in a nice fluid spot right now. The new character is definitely going to change all of that, whether it's definitely going to be a triple tank thing again. And if that's the case, especially when it comes to holding fortified positions with, let's say we get into a Barrier meta where everyone's running Orisa and Reinhardt, then I think Doomfist comes in the mix. I really think there is an opportunity for Doomfist to break into the meta. We've seen a lot of times in Overwatch League where people are trying to make Doomfist happen, and it's like, stop, it's not working. Doomfist isn't going to happen. If you're trying to stall on, the second point of a 2CP map, then obviously Mei is the better pick, and she's getting buffs as well. But I think Doomfist's ability to CC with all of his abilities and just really throw a wrench in the gears of a chokehold in a defensive fortified position, I think nobody can do what Doomfist can do. Obviously Hanzo kind of used to be able to do that, with Scatter, maybe take out Orisa or take out the healer, but I think Doomfist is has more of a dynamic play style for those situations, and can disrupt a ton in matchmaking, especially when people are definitely reliant on just holding a corner with an Orisa shield and a Roadhog, or what other tank they might be running. Doomfist has the greatest ability to disrupt that kind of playstyle, and I think we have the possibility of seeing that at the top levels of play in Owl as well, just not right now. We have to see what the Sombra changes do, if there's going to be further Mei buffs to make her a much more viable pick. I'm not worried too much about what Symmetra and Torbjorn are going to do, more so about the new character, Sombra. Obviously, we have that Hanzo rework that definitely can shift some things. I don't think it's going to change the meta, just how often you play Hanzo, and that may or may not be a good thing when it comes to those Hanzo mains that we all get in matchmaking. But we're still a far way off from that, and I don't think we'll be impacting the majority of this season, if at all. But excited for the new hero. I think on the up and up, obviously, are Moira and Sombra, and Ryan and Zarya get to see a little bit more play time. Ana and Lucio get to see a lot more play time, but the more inclusive we get, the more characters are viable in at least some situations, which is definitely what they want to do with Symmetra right now, the better. So I think we're in a decent spot, and I think it's going to be very fluid for the rest of Stage 2.